Today, I'm going to dive even deeper into the Marlou universe. About a month ago, I released a video about two of their newest releases, Dolifor and Heliodose, but I had to review the remaining four. They deserve it because they're truly special. In my last video, I spoke about the whole concept of the brand, how their fragrances smell very dirty, provocative, sexual, almost illegal, as if you're smelling something that is very private and you're not really supposed to be smelling it. I will leave a link to that video in the description box below if you want to dive even deeper into this Marlou universe. So today I will be reviewing and ranking Corpalium, Ambilux, Carnicure, and Poudrextase. Let's see what they would look like as drawings. Please keep in mind that this video is not sponsored in any way, shape or form. It contains only my personal experience and my personal interpretation of these very special fragrances. I've been smelling them and I've been trying to put into words what I'm smelling for the past 6 months. So keep in mind that my perception of these fragrances might be very different from what they smell like to you. So always trust only your nose. It knows best. Okay, let's begin. I'm super excited to show you what I came up with. 4th place. It was their very first release in 2016. Back in the day, it even had a different name, L'Animal Sauvage. The brand describes Carnicure as the smell of waxed wooden floor, feline presence, and an amber heart. And I agree 100% with the feline idea. A very indiscreet feline, to be precise, who may have left something wet behind. I also get a touch of soapiness, which is quite muted at first, but when the perfume starts drying down, it becomes very soapy. I'd even go that far and say that it's not a simple soap, it's a beeswax honey soap. Now imagine someone took this honey soap and used it as a urinal puck. I'm really sorry for this very vivid imagery, but this is what it smells like to me. A soapy, acidic, somewhat sweet and honeyed aroma. Maybe this is what pee of a diabetic cat plus soap smells like? I'll go with a honey-scented urinal puck for my final answer, but you get the gist. Then I went ahead and sketched my idea for the main drawing. Bathroom soap. Sounds just about right. Let me elevate. There's a beeswax honey soap lying next to the sink. A public bathroom sink. Carnicure is waxy, a little bit sweet, and animalic. It's like petting a senile, greasy cat with your freshly washed hands still smelling of soap. Carnicure is seasonless, genderless, and I would really love to hear a success story from someone who managed to pull it off successfully. It's a very human scent that will give you the most vivid memories. As I've mentioned before, the initial spray is quite different from what you get in the dry down. When I was testing this perfume, I always got fooled during the dry down phase. I can't tell you how many times I just thought that someone had just come back from the bathroom with their hands lathered up with soap to perfection. A public bathroom scene, and don't pretend you can't see the little pee puddles because they're here. Third place, the sneakiest one, Poudrextase. Why is it sneaky? Because this one may smell drastically different on your skin versus on a blotter. When I was testing all 4 of these fragrances during the colder months for the very first time, I've labeled Poudrextase to be the most normal of them all. But no, it has some vicious skeletons in its closet. One may interpret this fragrance as a sensual, powdery experience with soft animalic aspects. I'll call it a royal, fluffy sweetness. But others may see it as an illegal, animalic, fluffy bee orgy with puddles of fermented royal jelly drenching every member. I'll call it illegal animalistic BP. BP. You might be wondering, why am I talking about bees and honey and beeswax, and what does it have to do with Poudrextase? I mean, there's no official honey note in there. What is she talking about? I'll explain my thought process in a bit. But first, I'll introduce you to this perfume on a deeper level. I quickly sketched my idea and transferred it onto my special watercolor paper. If I had to describe the smell in 3 words, I'd say sweet, acidic powder. There's no best season or best time of the day to wear this perfume. It's so unique. One thing is certain, the harsh animalic aspect is loudest during the warmer months. If you want to tone it down and enhance that fluffiness, leave Poudrextase for the colder season. But if you want to emphasize that funky civet part, definitely wear it during summer. I drew a bee dressed in a warm, fluffy coat. You think she's so elegant until she starts getting undressed. This perfume hides a dirty little secret, a dirty little sour and sweet secret. That's definitely that civet note acting up. If you want to shake people up and make them question what they're smelling, this one might be for you. The longevity is quite decent, around 6 hours of civet bee. Now let's talk about honey and civets. And why am I comparing the smell of a wildcat to a waxy beehive? The whole idea behind Marlou perfumes is to recreate body odors and romanticize them using animalic notes. Therefore, these perfumes have that animalic touch, which translates to me as a very specific type of honey. Not many people have the chance to smell pure civet or civetone notes, but most of us can access raw honey. Now you might say, but honey smells beautifully floral and has nothing to do with wild cats and felines and their pee. Yes and no. Fact number 1. There are many honey tasting events, and the aromas leave people doubting themselves. Is it even honey? Nectar collected from some specific flower turns into honey, which ends up smelling like socks and gym lockers. Fact number 2. My mom just can't stand the smell of buckwheat honey. She says that it reminds her of a pig farm. Let's see what others are talking. So I did a little search online to see if I'm not alone. Conclusion. Civet note in Carnicure and Poudrextase smells like pea and honey to me. And now we all know why. Because honey is animalistic. Second place, Ambilux. This perfume has gained so much love over the years. It's really special and one of a kind. The most popular and well-known offering from the brand. And you know what it reminded me of? It threw me back more than 2 decades in time. It's summertime. 12-year-old me is chilling at her friend's place on a hot afternoon. Back in those days, at around 3 p.m., you could hear the sound of cheesy Mexican telenovelas blasting through every open window. And there was a dog in one of these, Pulgoso. My friend's family loved the name so much that they decided to call their own dog, smellily, Pulguito. And when I say that Pulguito smelled the same as Ambilux, I wouldn't be lying a bit. He was a funky old Pekingese dog who had the most distinct aroma. And I had absolutely no point of reference for that smell up until now, up until I've smelled Ambilux. I will call it sweet dog breath with a touch of ammonia. I can also imagine this very strong smelling flower, hyacinth. Ambilux is like that sweet smelling old dog peeing on hyacinths. And I'll add one more thing to the mix. Remember how I just mentioned that ammonia? Imagine the smell of a portable toilet on a hot summer day. And now put that porta potty inside an empty honey jar. And that was my thought process for deciphering Ambilux. Let's put all of this into one drawing. I knew I had to include that old Pekingese dog in the final piece. It's his breath, bottled and labeled as Ambilux. I know you might be saying, but you're drawing and referencing honey for the 3rd time in a row. Yes, I am. But this time it's not that fermented pig farm buckwheat honey. This time it's this beautiful organic floral honey, or at least an empty jar of it, inside of which a lovely portable toilet resides. And you might be appalled by my description, but actually Ambilux is very lovely. This perfume is the definition of I'm not sure if I like it. It smells weird, but I just can't stop smelling my wrist. It's like this portable toilet didn't belong to humans. Maybe it was used by flower fairies? Flower fairy pee bottled up inside a jar and guarded by an old Pekingese. Sounds about right. If you're wondering about technical details, the longevity, everything's in place. Ambilux is right in the middle, not too strong, not too weak. It lasts for a good 6 hours on the skin and for a few days on a blotter. And now my first place, Corpalium. It's very different from the rest. It's still a little bit animalic, but in a very nice, leathery way. When I first smelled it, I immediately thought of a cute little squirrel hiding her nuts inside an old tree crevice. It also reminded me of a bowl of salad, that elevated type of salad when people add nuts and dates and celery. I'll call it Corpalium, a sexy tree crevice salad. It also reminded me of a very specific herbal tea, calendula tea and honey, stirred with a celery stalk. You know, this could be a thing. I would probably drink that. To sum it all up, Corpalium smells woody, nutty, herbal and leathery. Definitely squirrel approved. Now let's put all of my thoughts on paper. I really wanted to draw a sexy, curvy tree holding a bowl of salad. So I transferred my sketch onto watercolor paper and started the coloring process with my new set of watercolor markers. Yes, such art supplies exist and it was my very first time trying them out. You're supposed to color all the details on dry paper and then add some water to make them bloom. But it didn't really turn out how I expected. So let's try again. I want to make it right. Corpalium is a beautiful, truly beautiful, and very unique offering from Marlou. I can bravely say that I haven't smelled anything like this before, and it's gorgeous, very natural smelling, absolutely unisex with decent longevity and silage. Imagine a cute squirrel hiding inside an old, dry tree. The tiny rodent has accumulated many nuts inside the crevice, and it had no idea that this tree just came to life and is now offering every bypasser some celery salad. There's also a touch of dried medicinal flower, such as that calendula. It's truly special. Conclusion. My ranking was a lie. Sort of. Both Ambilux and Corpalium could easily share the first place. I would love to own a bottle of both of them. Corpalium would satisfy my nutty, leathery herbal tea fantasy on a daily basis during autumn. And Ambilux would be that perfume that you take out to just smell the cap and appreciate the artistry behind it. And maybe try wearing it sometimes when the craziest mood hits you. Now Carnicure, together with Poudrextase, just didn't work for me. I can definitely imagine someone pulling them off successfully, but you really need a peculiar mindset towards perfumes or a very strong, fond memory that these perfumes could awaken. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this review was helpful and insightful, entertaining and fun. And if you like what I'm doing here, drawing perfumes, analyzing smells, telling weird stories and finding the most unusual connections, please consider subscribing. That would mean a lot to me. Let's grow this channel to something really big. Take care and see you soon. Bye.